Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Andrews, also known as the Bard of Ely, and this is the Saving Mother Ocean podcast. And on these podcasts, I talk to activists, and activists come in very many forms, including singer-songwriters, which I am myself. And today, I am absolutely delighted to have another singer-songwriter who goes by the name of Stephen Friedland and also known as Brute Force. And I have a t-shirt here with him on it. And I have his album, Planet Work, which he will be talking about later, I hope. But now let us welcome Stephen Friedland, aka Brute Force. And Stephen, perhaps you could tell us all about yourself, and because I know a lot about you, as you know, but the viewers don't. So, Stephen, take it away and tell us about yourself.
Well, myself is an entity which is probably invisible, and it is at best propped up by actions and sounds, being words that is coming out of my brain, speaking things that I've learned, the actions of my body and the words then would compromise something, a person. People would see me, and then I would be learning this self as I got older. As a toddler, didn't have too much. As a baby and a toddler, didn't have too much idea of the self. As I moved, I'm really parsing your words because I think it's important. And for instance, the selfie, I've always objected to the selfie in that the self cannot be, you cannot see the self. But I know what you mean. You mean, generally speaking, tell me about yourself. And I don't want to get any ways or fashion super esoteric or too spiritual about that. But I do think the self is in the spiritual category. It's in the realm of spiritual reality, and it's a function of I would think the mind. It's probably something in the mind, all the different elements that we gather together, the physical and the non-physical, are separated out somehow, some way. All the sounds that we learn, the words that we learn are categorized, and we learn how to put all that together. And indeed, putting it all together is a function also of the self, but further back would be an element in the mind, which does contain lots of other stuff, the all of the stuff that we call things, the hard substances that we approach and try to change. And but this is not the answer that you were asking me. Myself, I'm a singer-songwriter. I live in New York City. It's a beautiful day today. People talk about the weather. It gives them a connection with other people. You'll notice when you're with people, they start talking about the weather. Very important. So first off, though, I think it's very important to thank you. I was really unaware that actually at this moment now, when I tuned in with you, that it was going to be a segment of Save the Ocean. I thought it was going to be, Rocking the Valley, which took the program. And but this is fine with me. I remember doing a Saving the Ocean with you perhaps a year and a half ago, and that was fun. Uh, my relation to the ocean is uh, very strong. I'm feeling very connected with the water. 80% is they quote unquote say is part of your body is water. We are born of the sea. If you go back far enough, you will have some form coming out of the sea onto land, whether or not it was an amphibian. Steve, you will definitely have studied this in your life, being such a scientist also, how life has crawled out of the ocean. And you would have, I know, Steve Andrews, gotten into the um, what's the word for the different forms of life?
Biodiversity.
Oh, well, that's one way of describing it.
That's one word. Biodiversity. The
Philology
flora
or
and the
the
fauna. Is that what?
physiology of moths and butterflies, for instance.
So Lepidoptera.
You may have very well studied that, and other things, human beings, the hominids, and our upbringing and how it all happened. Me, I'm just an iteration. I wrote yesterday, and this may be in a little in line with what you just asked me, asking me, tell us a little about yourself. And I'm sure that my own thought of myself is quite, you would say, extreme. uh, but this yesterday I thought, and I did even write it down. Imagine, if you will, imagine that you are a spark. Imagine you are a spark from the original blast, which caused it all, which you are, which I am. There is in me, and I would say in all of us, a spark which is related to the original blast, which caused, the primordial beginnings of the universe. I mean, where are we now? Where we have another telescope, the one that came after the Hoyle telescope after the Hubble, which is looking further out into. We all are there in our mind. We are there, and now I think the great space mission carried out by countries that have free marketplaces. Well, you can't really politicize that because both China and Russia are well, the freedom. Myself, you're asking me, what about yourself? I feel like I'm a free person. I feel I have liberty. I feel I can go anywhere. I can do anything within the realms of law and order if I should travel. But here in my own little castle in New York City, I am a free entity. I, uh, uh yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter. I perform. I think when I perform, I'm at my best, really. And I had a great concert this 26th of February, in which I finally did what I couldn't really do for the whole pandemic, that's for sure. And that's just get on a stage, being solo on a stage, and just do everything that I do, which is both sing my music and perform comedy bits, B-I-T-S. There's physical comedy bits, such as, such as now the seat upon which I'm sitting, is vinyl. Well, you can't sit. So well, I'm not. Sorry, I play vinyl seat. I play percussively. I play a seat percussively, and I also play my eyebrows. This is a physical comedy bit, and I play the chair percussively. I play my eyebrows. I put a rubber band on my cheeks and attach it to my ears so that I'm smiling, and that's the brute force smile assister, uh, which is the punchline of the story which I tell about, which dovetails again with the beginnings of the universe and how life finally came along and people were terrified of volcanoes. The volcano stopped. Someone was so happy that they smiled. They actually smiled. And, well, it's all right. I can describe it. And someone smiled. And now, millions of years later, so much smiling has caused the tired cheek syndrome. And the tired cheek syndrome, however, can be cured. I have cured it with the brute force smile assister, and I put that on a rubber band, usually 2 rubber bands interlocked, and then I tie it on here, and my face is contorted into a smile, and that is a feat. And I just stand there like very proud, very proudly wearing my Friedland smile or brute force smile as sister. So, but identity there was Steve Friedland brute force. There's a very good and self is very good connection with what I've been through in my career, because a pseudonym and also known as, professionally known as, name absolutely plays along with identity, and identity is intertwined with self. So I would have been in a different place. I would have been getting different recognition at the beginning had I recorded as Stephen Friedland rather than brute force, because brute force already now I'm conditioning the mind of the viewer or the listener. So as Stephen Friedland, I would have instantly been seen as a Jew, a white young man. The publicity would have been different, absolutely different about me. And Columbia at that time paid very little attention to me as Stephen Friedland because I led them there. I led them to brute force, and I followed right along. But my management was nowhere, nada, zilch, no management. I was making the decisions. So you see, brute force came out of the self as a very guarded person, see, shielded, perhaps very aggressive. Get it? Brute force. I had conceived of my name as crude brute prior to brute force. But when I was recording my own stuff with the Tokens, I had become a Token, so I was recording my own stuff. Tokens, Lion Sleeps Tonight, Women Away, Women Away, and so they decided I was working with their production office, writing songs and being in their group. And the time came when they decided, oh yeah, let's record your music too. So in a studio, I just don't know which studio, or I forget the name of the engineer, but we were all gathered around the board and talking about what I'm going to call myself. And this is in relation to identity, which is in relation to self. So I'm still in answer to that problem is a slip. That question tells us a little about yourself. That was a dangerous question to ask me. So, right. And so I said, well, I think crude brute, we're talking about what to call me. Because you see, I had in my brain that my name, Friedland, was not appropriate to be a rock singer. And probably it was correct at that time because I was being influenced by Hollywood. And I knew by that time that lots of actors, had changed their names, and the stars had names that were made up, I had learned that. So I said, we're talking about what to call me. And I said, Crude Brute. And Jay Siegel, he blurted out, brute force. Jay Siegel is the lead singer. That guy. He blurted out, brute force. And that was the beginning of that name. But I also I like to exercise, about me, a little about myself. As in my older age now, as you get older, now I'm 82 years old. Imagine you have to keep exercising. You have to keep the body. If you don't use it, you will lose it.
I must agree. I do like a bit of a walk every day, and my late father, he got as far as 98, and he used to walk every
Wow.
day. So, the exercise is important. What I wanted to come in on there was you were talking about the name
Can
and
you
change.
make yourself louder?
Try and make myself louder. Yeah, I can try. I was just going to say, I was coming in on, you were talking about changing your name. And I was thinking actually about Bob Dylan, because Bob Dylan changed his name from, Robert Zimmerman to Bob
There
Dylan.
you go.
And I believe you actually met Bob Dylan at one point.
Well, I met them both, Bob Dylan and Bob
Bob
Zimmerman.
Zimmerman.
And so I guess that sounds very German and or Jewish. I don't know if he's Jewish, but uh, I did meet Bob, and it was a very pleasant meeting um, in a studio at Columbia Records, 53rd Street, I believe, in New York City. And we were introduced. I was introduced to Bob. He was introduced to me by a fellow by the name of Alan Cooper. Alan Cooper is very talented. I think he's thinner than you are, which is almost impossible. And he's still alive, I believe. He's living up in New England, I think. And he did Lynyrd Skynyrd. He did he worked with the band, I believe. He worked with the Blues Project, very well-known blues musician and keyboardist for Dylan, keyboard player for Dylan Sessions. Amazing guy. So and we became friends, and he even played on one of my demos, I remember. Um um Al Cooper asked me to come with him down to a studio. We happened to be together at Columbia Studios. And he said, I want you to meet Dylan. And so we walked into a studio, one of the many at this huge skyscraper. And it was dark. It was not lit by artificial means. Uh, it was shadowy, in other words. There was very little light. And Bob Dylan had a guitar on. It was just, like perfect, right? I was thinking, say, he was wearing a guitar. He had a guitar on. And I said hello. You see, Al Cooper wanted me to play him a song, which is on, I believe it's on the Bar None compilation, which is the reissue of the I Brute Force. Um, which is a reissue of the I Brute Force album. So, but I'll just do a little of it because I know it's not coming out great. I love to hold you. Al Cooper wanted me to play this song for Bob Dylan, and I sit down at the piano, and I'm actually doing this now. I love to hold you in my arms, my baby. I love to hold you and your charms, my baby. I find this annoying. I, oh, brave, find this annoying, boo. And so the song goes on to have a million different parts of it, all really mimicking and making fun of a love song in a way, uh, very sanguine love song. So I met him, and so I finished the song, and I can remember him saying, and these are the only two words
Okay.
that he said in relation to that visit. He went sort of like, good.
And that was it.
That was it. Good. So, I didn't press the guy or anything like that. And I didn't use that as any sort of a entree for anything. I did go to a concert of his up in Massachusetts once. And I even shied away from sending a little note saying, Brute Force, may I come in and say hi to you? So yeah, Bob Dylan, it was great. Certainly did meet that guy, and you know, he's up there with Zeus, in the pantheon of rock music. He's right there with Zeus.
I got to agree. I'm actually going to see him in Lisbon in June. He's playing Lisbon here in Portugal, so
Oh,
I got to see him. And what I wanted to talk to you about now is that this show is supposed to be about activism. And I'm not going to ask you what does activism mean to you, but I actually think that this album of yours,
yes.
Planet Work, is a form of activism.
Oh, thank you.
Um, Perhaps you would just like to share with the viewers about the Pledge of Allegiance and about Planet Work.
Thank you very much. Give me 10 seconds. All right, that was it. 10 seconds. It's all summed up. It's all summed up, of course. It's all summed up in what you have on your wall right there. That's right. we got the poster, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to my planet and to the universe all around and within me, one spirit, indivisible, with eternity for all. Wow. So there's a lot in that, and it's on the level of activism. I would say that the inclusion of the word planet definitely makes it an activism thing, and it makes it a very ecological uh, statement, the Pledge of Allegiance to the planet, because if people do sincerely pledge allegiance to the planet, then they're paying attention. And if you pay attention, you're going to make your trains much safer, number one, and you will not have a train blowing up in a little town in Ohio. And you will not have vinyl chloride seeping into the earth. Now, warming of the planet has been mentioned as a causation of the recent fish kill in Australia, a reason that millions of fish just died and floated to the top. They're still working on the causation of that, but the pollution is rather well known to everybody. The pieces of paper that you see strewn about the sidewalk or the side of if you're riding a train and you look out the window, as you zoom along, you'll see pieces of metal and paper all strewn along the path. A roadway, if you look out the window, you'll see pieces of metal, cans, glass, paper at the side of the road, all thrown out by people who just have this, that thing is, throw it away. It's not mine anymore, not my problem. And so we have people to take care of these problems, and they bend down and they pick it up, they take it away, and it is recycled in some cases. In some cases, it's just burned. But the Pledge of Allegiance to my planet on the track on Planet Work it is a very activist work. All of the songs on Planet Work are devoted to noticing the planet, bringing awareness to the planet. And that bringing awareness thing the bringing awareness thing is part of my own drive to enlighten humanity. I know that's a tall order. If you go into the Universal restaurant, what do you want? I'll have a double order of enlightenment, please, because enlightenment is not I'm not criticizing you or anybody for not being enlightened. I am laying it out and asking people to make their choice. Now the track of the Pledge of Allegiance, I pledge allegiance. The track, the actual music of it, contains the words all around and inside of me, not all around and within me. And I still must now have a poster. I still must update my poster because the poster has my original and within me. But that's more proper than and inside of me. talking as a writer now. The words which a listener focuses on and inside of me is more gutsy than and within me. But it's more powerful, I do believe. So I use that I sang it that night that I was recording it, and it was a while before I knew there was a difference between. So I'm working on that too. But the important thing about Pledge of Allegiance is so beautiful. And the activism will take a new turn when I am finally releasing releasing a video of the Pledge of Allegiance to the planet, on which I collaborated on which I collaborated with students in a video class in Utah, which is a state in the United States. And their teacher, a very talented video teacher, Will Atkinson, McAllister, Will McAllister. And he and I got together, and then he got together with his class of students to make a video. And now we're in post-production. I'm so happy to have this done. And that's very good for the activism, because though people may listen to the Pledge of Allegiance, right? Presenting a song with a video is a very popular way of doing things. People like videos of songs. And so many more people will listen to Pledge of Allegiance because there's a video of it now. And so there you go. It is an activist mission. Activism is a mission. You have to be on a mission. You got to keep the ideas going. You have to pursue it. You have to keep pursuing it. And I know you have your mind, Steve Andrews, on both the plant and the animal world as far as this goes. You're very conscious of that, of species which are being absolutely decimated as we speak, without any real caring, So how do people do it? Well, there are these guys that invented the method of cleaning up the ocean, and they're out there now cleaning up that big, huge area in the Pacific, west of California, in the Pacific. I understand is an area of plastic which is like the size of Texas.
Twice the size of Texas, I've heard.
Twice. There you go.
Twice the size of Texas.
And so cleaning that up, they're doing that. It's a slow process. And they have also invented a method in marinas will often become a polluted area, so that water, by the device they invented, floats in little pieces of debris into a collection tank, and after a while they have to empty it. In the cities here, we have a constant 24/7, 365 focus on that, you can just know that in a city of millions and millions of people, it's a Herculean task to divide the different things that people throw out. But the system here is divided into, you know, paper, plastic, metal, wood, electronic devices. It's amazing how, people do that. I, as a tenant in a building, I get to take my plastics and my paper and throw it into a separate box outside. And there I go. I throw it, boom, I'm finished with it. It's not my problem anymore. And so then we have the social services. There are social services which are now intertwined with the free market. Private companies, unions, truck drivers, 24/7 come by. People pick up the bags, throw it into the trucks 24/7, 365. Now, I know in the United States, there's some places which have staggered type of collection. Staggered, your collection is staggered. Some places where you have to go to a local place and throw the stuff away. Then there are brave individuals who are on, really, like yourself, on missions of bringing awareness to everyone about the terrible problems which exist, and you write about it, and you constantly publicize it, which is a very important part of ecology, or taking care of the world. I am in the field of communication, I suppose.
Oh, very much so, I think. I think actually, I think we share something there. I think we're both very much in the field of communication. This is
You
what
too,
we
for
do.
sure.
And I have to actually um, say that, at this point in time, we're going to have to end this interview, which has been
Sure.
absolutely fascinating. I could listen to you for hours, but
Yes.
we do not have the hours, for this to go ahead. So
Right,
we're going to
right.
have to finish very soon. But before we go, first of all, I would just like to thank you so much for being my guest.
Oh,
And perhaps you could just share with the viewers, how can people find out more about you?
it, it's you're using me on you're having me on your program, which is an honor for me. Thank you. Thank you. Uh, Brutes, Brutes, as in Sam, F as in Frank, ORCE, brutesforce.com /confections /Hare Krishna, because I was in the movie Ghostbusters, and so there's a picture of me, but that will bring you into the website brutesforce.com. There are lots of other people that are using that word, but you see, I have the classification as far as entertainment goes, as far as songwriting goes, being a composer, being a vocalist. But there are other brute forces that are into the technological manufacturing field, the game field. I think Microsoft has a lot of brute force games. There are some electronic companies that have products named brute force. There are some plastic product manufacturers that produce a brute force, a brute waste paper basket. But uh, that's one website, brutesforce.com. And then the other is the http://http:// planetwork. PLANETWORK. That's the way you spell it. Yeah. Dot
Planet
world. You
Work.
can get that CD if you want. I can mail it from my place. All you got to do, you'll find it on that website, planetwork.world. That's a beautiful. That picture is taken by Linda Eastman. I mean, God bless her soul. When she took a photo session of me at Columbia, and it's a splendid, the artwork. I'm in love with the artwork on this
Let's
CD, right?
show the camera all of the
Thank you so much. Yeah.
artwork.
And my daughter, Lila, the daughter of Force, she did the cover on it, and a longtime friend of mine, Lillian, did that photo that was just there with the
There's
heart.
back.
Yeah, and they're so the album, I should say, and the Pledge of Allegiance has in it a chord structure, which I, in my lifetime, have evidently learned from. Uh, oh no, we can't. You're signing off now, so. But
We're going to
will
have to, unfortunately, we are going to have to sign off.
yes.
Um, and I will actually see you later, but
Oh,
I have
good.
to close this particular show now. So once again, Stephen Friedland, thank you so much for being my guest on today's show.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just get a hold of me, and I will try to do my best
And
to do what you
raise
ask.
awareness of the planet, I would say.
When I'm in your town, country, wherever, please come see me. I love to perform. Performers love to perform, as I know you do. And you are a super, super scientist, author, musician. You're a Renaissance character. Steve Andrews, the Bard of Ely. Bye bye.
Thank you, Stephen. Bye bye.